Today we're going to be talking about the Pythagorean Theorem and its converse. Our objective is that we will use the Pythagorean Theorem to find the lengths of sides of a right triangle and use the Pythagorean Converse to classify triangles as acute, obtuse, or right. Recall that the Pythagorean Theorem is c squared equals a squared plus b squared. The hypotenuse is the longest side and is represented by the letter C. It's always going to be the side across from the right angle because the right angle is the biggest angle, and that's across from the longest side. The other two sides are referred to as legs. And the legs are what we plug in for A and B, and it doesn't matter which one is which. So let's put this to use. We're going to find the value of x. Since x is across from the right angle, that's going to be our side C. So x squared equals 12 squared plus 16 squared. If we type 12 squared plus 16 squared into our calculator, we get 400. To undo the square, we would square root both sides, which would give us that x is equal to 20. This time, we know our hypotenuse. We're trying to find one of our legs. So 6 squared equals x squared plus 2 square roots of 2 squared. 6 squared is 36 equals x squared. Now squaring this looks a little scary, but we can use our calculator for it, as long as we're using parentheses properly. So parentheses 2 square root 2, then we're going to arrow out of the square root and close our parentheses, and then squared. And the calculator knows what to do with that, and it is 8. So plus 8. We need to get the x squared by itself, so we subtract 8 on both sides. We get 28 equals x squared. Again, we're going to square root both sides to undo the square, and we get that x is approximately 5.292. In this one, it wants us to find x, but we don't know this side of that triangle. So I'm going to label that y, and we're going to need to find that first. So we're going to use this triangle here, and I'm going to highlight in pink. We're going to use that triangle first. So the 25 is across from the right angle, so that's C. So 25 squared equals y squared plus 24 squared. 25 squared is 625 equals y squared plus 576. Subtract 576 on both sides. And we get that 49 equals y squared. Square root both sides. And we get that y equals 7. So now we can find x squared using this triangle, now that we know that this side is 7. So the C is the one that's, the x is the one that's across from the hypotenuse, so that's C. So x squared equals 26, or square root of 26 squared plus 7 squared. Bring down our x squared. Square and square root undo each other, so this would be 26 plus 7 squared is 49. So x squared equals 75. Square root both sides, and we get that x is approximately 8.66. This one's a little different, but it's the same idea. Find the length of the diagonal of the square. So it wants to know from here to here, and I'm going to label that x. So all it's saying is do the Pythagorean theorem with this triangle here. We don't have to worry about the other half of the square. C is across from our right angle. So x squared equals 5 squared plus 5 squared. 5 squared is 25. 25 plus 25 is 50. Square root both sides to undo our squared. And we get that x is approximately 7.071. All right, do the following side lengths describe a right triangle? In order to figure that out, we need to know the Pythagorean Converse, which says if c squared equals a squared plus b squared, then the triangle is a right triangle. So if we're given the sides 8, 7, and 2, 8 would have to be our c because it's the largest. So we want to know, is 8 squared equal to 7 squared plus 2 squared? Well, 8 squared is 64. 7 squared is 49. 2 squared is 4. 64 does not equal 53, so this is not a right triangle. What if we have the sides of 5, the square root of 56, and 9? The first thing we need to do is figure out which one of these is the largest. If you type in the square root of 56 in your calculator, you get that that's approximately 7.48. So our C would be 9. So is 9 squared equal to 5 squared plus the square root of 56 squared? 9 squared is 81 equals, question mark, 5 squared is 25 plus square root of 56 squared is just 56. 25 plus 56 would be 81. So since they're equal, this is a right triangle. Our last example is a word problem. Jake plans to use a ramp to make it easier to move a piano out of the back of his truck. The back of the truck is 33 inches tall and the ramp is 65 inches long. What is the horizontal distance from the end of the ramp to the back of the truck? So we know that the truck, from the ground to the top of the truck, is 33 inches. The ramp coming off the truck is 65 inches. We want to know how far it is from the edge of the ramp to the back of the truck. So that right there. So this would be our right angle. So across from it, that's our C. So 65 squared equals x squared plus 33 squared. Using my calculator, I found that 65 squared is 4,225 equals x squared plus 33 squared is 1,089. Subtract the 1,089 on both sides. We get 3,136 equals x squared. Square root to both sides to undo the squared. And we get that x equals 56. Since we're dealing with a word problem, we should include our units in our answer, which would be inches. That's all for today. Fill in your summary.